Practice is underway, 2 hours 45 minutes on the clock. Now with the PRO leader, Daniel Kirby. Matthew Overton into P3 in PRO, 1:8.971. That's 1.64 behind Daniel Kirby. Lap 9 for Daniel Kirby, settling into... Here's the view from Matthew Overton's cockpit in the number 174 Lamborghini STC. On board with James Bowders in the number 92 Lamborghini STC. James Bowders maintaining P10. Carl Struhol running in P3. Now on board with Brian Hall driving the number 204 Lamborghini STC. PRO driver Brian Hall is faster in, but PRO driver Daniel Kirby gets the better exit from straight one. PRO driver Brian Hall and PRO driver Daniel Kirby trading time through straight one. Different approaches at straight one. PRO driver Brian Hall carries more speed. PRO driver Daniel Kirby accelerates harder. Switching to Gilles Lalonde on board in the number 203 Lamborghini STC. P3 for Brian Hall in PRO with a 1:8.935. Switching to AMP4, James Bowders. You can set your watch by James Bowders' lap times. Strong drive out of straight 5 for AM driver Carl Struhol. AM driver Carl Struhol accelerating harder from straight 5. AM driver Carl Struhol is quicker on the power out of straight 5. Better traction for AM driver Carl Struhol out of straight 5. AM driver Carl Struhol accelerating harder from straight 5. Strong driver out of straight 5 for AM driver Carl Struhol. Better traction for AM driver Carl Struhol out of Brian Hall, currently P3 in PRO. Impressive consistency from Brian Hall. On board with Paul Ibbotson in the number 165 Lamborghini STC. PRO driver Paul Ibbotson and PRO driver Brian Hall trading advantages through straight one. PRO driver Paul Ibbotson brakes later. PRO driver Brian Hall exits faster at straight one. PRO Paul Ibbotson and PRO driver Brian Hall trading time through straight one. PRO driver Paul Ibbotson with the entry. PRO driver Brian Hall with the exit at straight one. PRO driver Paul Ibbotson is quicker on the power out of straight one. Strong drive out of straight one for PRO driver Paul Ibbotson. PRO driver Paul Ibbotson gets a better exit from straight one. Better traction for PRO driver Paul Ibbotson out of straight. Better entry speed for PRO driver Brian Hall at straight one. PRO driver Brian Hall has the edge on entry to straight one. PRO driver Brian Hall carries more speed. Let's check on Frank Radosti, P2 in AM. P7 for Frank Radosti, a quiet run so far.
JT's here, must be time to do the race.
Here's Paul Ibbotson in P2 in PRO.
Oh, cool. It's a new
PRO
version
driver
of
Paul
Detroit.
Ibbotson is quicker on the...
Yeah.
Here's the view from
So
Brian
it's the
Hall's
one that's
cockpit in the
been,
number
worked
204
on over the
Lamborghini
course of the,
STC.
winter to,
The lap times are starting to drop off
sort
for
out a
Brian
couple
Hall.
things, like the start line and the
PRO driver Norm Graf accelerating harder
although I
from
think there's
straight
still
one.
one I think Norm managed to find.
PRO driver
at the
Norm
end of the
Graf
first
gets a
straight
better
that,
exit. Let's see it from
might,
Gilles Lalonde's
hold on
perspective
to
in the
give
number
us some
203 Lamborghini
Yeah,
STC.
Norm or Brian, one of them will find it.
PRO driver Norm Graf is quicker on the power out to straight one.
Oh,
PRO driver Norm Graf accelerating harder from straight
Paul's
one.
here. Carl's
Strong
here.
drive out of straight one for PRO
Brian's
driver
here.
Norm Graf.
Norm's here.
PRO driver Norm
Frank's
Graf is
here.
quicker on the power out of... Switching to Norm Graf's onboard in the
Gilles
number
here.
1 Lamborghini STC.
Tom is here.
Norm Graf is in a real groove, metronome
James
laps.
Olivier. James. and
Better traction for
Olivier
PRO
here.
driver Norm Graf
JT's
out
here,
of
so
straight
it's
one.
just Daniel hanging out there. So.
Strong drive out to straight one
He'll get
for
there,
PRO
I know.
driver Norm Graf.
Kick him out.
PRO driver Norm Graf
He's got 10
accelerating harder
minutes.
from
He's got
straight
10
one.
minutes, Mr. Ibbotson. You can't get rid of your competition.
PRO driver
that
Norm Graf
quickly.
is quicker on the power out of straight one.
Oh well, that's a try.
Strong drive out of straight one for PRO driver Norm Graf. JT Tammy's in trouble in PRO. Here's the replay.
Oh, crap.
Returning to Norm Graf in P5 in... You could set your watch by Daniel Kirby's lap times. Better traction for PRO driver Daniel Kirby out of straight one. PRO driver Daniel Kirby gets a better exit from straight one. PRO driver Daniel Kirby is quicker on the power out of straight one. PRO driver Daniel Kirby braking deeper into turn one. Watch the braking into turn one. PRO driver Daniel Kirby is later there. Better entry speed for PRO driver Daniel Kirby at turn one. Strong drive out of straight five for PRO driver Daniel Kirby. PRO driver Daniel Kirby gets a better exit from straight five. On board with Gilles Lalonde in the number 203 Lamborghini STC. PRO driver Norm Graf is quicker on the power out of straight one. Strong drive out of straight one for PRO driver Norm Graf. Better traction for PRO driver Gilles Lalonde out of straight one. PRO driver Gilles Lalonde gets a better exit from straight one. Strong drive out of straight one for PRO driver Gilles Lalonde. PRO driver Gilles Lalonde accelerating harder from straight one. PRO driver Gilles Lalonde gets a better exit from straight one. Better traction for PRO driver Gilles Lalonde out of straight one. P3 for Norm Graf in PRO with a 1:8.916. That's 1.81 behind Daniel Kirby. 21 laps completed by Frank Ragosti. Now on board with Karl Struhl driving the number 42 Lamborghini STC. That's where AM driver Karl Struhl is making time through straight one. AM driver Karl Struhl has the advantage at straight one. AM driver Karl Struhl consistently faster through straight one. AM driver Karl Struhl is quicker through straight one. Oh, look at this! 3 cars. Impressive consistency from Paul Ibbotson. Pro driver Paul Ibbotson braking deeper into turn one. PRO driver Paul Ibbotson carries more speed into turn one. Watch the braking into turn two. PRO driver Paul Ibbotson is later there. PRO driver Paul Ibbotson accelerating harder from straight one. Strong drive out of straight one for PRO driver Paul Ibbotson. PRO driver Paul Ibbotson gets a better exit. Let's see it from Matthew Overton's perspective in the number 174 Lamborghini STC. Remarkably consistent from Matthew Overton. PRO driver Matthew Overton is quicker on the power at straight one. PRO driver Matthew Overton accelerating. Let's ride with JT Tammy in the number 202 Lamborghini STC. Matthew Overton into P3 in PRO, 1:8.496. That's 1.39 behind Daniel Kirby. Strong drive out of straight one for PRO driver Brian Hall. Better traction for PRO driver Brian Hall out of straight one. PRO driver Matthew Overton is quicker on the power out of straight one. PRO driver Matthew Overton accelerating harder from straight one. PRO driver Matthew Overton gets a better exit from straight one. Better traction for PRO driver Matthew Overton out of straight one. PRO driver Matthew Overton is quicker on the power out of straight one. PRO driver Matthew Overton accelerating harder from straight one. PRO driver Matthew Overton gets a better exit from straight one. Strong drive out of straight one for PRO driver Matthew Overton. Better traction for PRO driver Matthew Overton out of straight one. Now with the AM leader Karl Struhl, 6th in the championship. That's where AM driver Karl Struhl is making time through straight one. AM driver Karl Struhl consistently faster through straight one. AM driver Karl Struhl has the advantage at straight one. Straight one is where AM driver Karl Struhl pulls away. AM driver Karl Struhl consistently faster through straight one. AM driver Karl Struhl has the advantage at straight one. AM driver Karl Struhl is quicker through straight one. AM driver Karl Struhl consistently faster through straight one. Tom Nazella currently P3 in AM. AM driver Tom Nazella accelerating harder from straight one. Strong drive out of straight one from AM driver Tom Nazella. AM driver Tom Nazella has the advantage at straight. Now with AMP3 Olivier Gervais.
Better if I'm off my mute. Okay, everybody, into the pit,
AM driver Tom Nazella gets a better exit from straight one.
See if you guys still trotting around the track.
AM driver Tom Nazella accelerating harder. Now on board with Frank Radosti
Apparently,
drive.
Dave
Let's hear
Anderson's
from Gilles Lalonde's
computer
perspective in the
is
number
a
203 Lamborghini
minute or
STC.
two ahead of the rest of the world, so he likes to be early for things, obviously.
A tight championship battle.
matches my
Norm
time.
Graf and Gilles Lalonde separated by 1 point.
Yeah, well, I've got 8:59, so I don't know. Running on a different time zone. Anyways, guys, thanks very much for coming out. There's even dozen coming out, which is just great. Should be a good race here. Great practice for some of the other races we're going to be doing here over the next few weeks. And don't forget that the MNRL is also running Historic Detroit with the kart series as well next week. So you can get your fill of all the different types of Detroit that are out there. And a shout out again to Ross Smith, who is managing the stream tonight for us and does so every Thursday. We appreciate it and gives us a chance to contemplate our navels over our issues as we get to repeat them over and over again in public. So appreciate that consideration. It gets us a little bit of publicity and interest. So very much appreciate it. So today, first of the Detroit races in the Modern Series, we're going to be going to 30-minute laps on the latest Detroit GP with a 15-minute quali. And because of the setup, and Don Fryman, thank you very much for doing this, we've got the start-finish line on East Jefferson, which is the IMSA layout. Unfortunately, RF2 is not clever enough to handle a start line separate from a finish line. So the finish line will be in the traditional place after T9 on Franklin Street, where your timing will be starting for the second lap. So for the start here, it's going to be a standing start, off rolling, so let the lights go out. Leading pair will lead us around a full lap, and then a third of a lap as we go around back to East Jefferson, and the race will start on that second round of 2x2 as you cross underneath the starter's post and the checkered stripe that is on the ground. That's where everyone starts racing 2x2. So unfortunately, we can't do the start cars, the safety car. Orange zone will be from the start finish all the way through to the exit of T9 as you come back towards the start finish line. And as usual, the stewards will be taking a dim view of things if you cause an incident during that, or a more than dim view if you cause an incident during the OZ, and I will be checking. 30 minutes race, and then having gridded for the first race for the qualifying order, the second race will, of course, be with positions 1 to 6 in the finish, gridding from 12 to 7, and then 7 to 12, the back half of the finishing grid will grid 1 to 6 as determined by a random draw. Normal deal with penalties. We're all clear. They'll be, if there are penalties out of this race, they'll be applied to the race, either of the races to which they apply by the stewards, and I'll make sure that it gets done properly. And of course, if something happens with RF2 and it gives you a penalty, away you go. Good possibility for a blue flag for a variety of reasons here, and everyone's clear on the drill. Don't obstruct, don't compete with, but you don't have to get out of the way. The other driver doesn't get that automatic right of the way, but is looking for an opportunity, and if it's there, take it cleanly, and away we go. Everyone respect each other and realize that if you're being lapped, it's because you're actually a lap behind the race, and I think everyone's pretty good about that. Track limits are enforced by RF2. There are some places you can get a penalty here on some of those right-handers or the 90-degree turns. So keep one wheel, regardless, keep one wheel on the racing surface on the white line at all times. If you are felt by other drivers to be leaving the track to get an advantage, you can get an IRR, and it doesn't matter if you got penalty points or not. The stewards will still deal with it. T3, the hairpin at the end of the long straight, and then T5, 6, 7 are always entertaining. I say that, gritting my teeth. So just be particularly careful as you go around there. They're not the greatest places to be making a pass in dodgy circumstances. If you do spin, have an off track, or have a difficulty and you're stalled in the track, if you can't get out of the way quickly, then I'm going to ask you to use the Control-Alt-Delete, Alt-F4, or network cable out to get out of the way and come back into the race. Don't forget there's a second race, because, of course, escape means you're finished the race, no points at all. So just be aware of that. And if you're blocking the track, take action to get out of the way. You'd expect that from other drivers. Pit entry, make sure you're well right coming out of T8 and get out of the way. Use the center lane to travel through, and then pit boxes on either side. Pit the outside. I don't think we're going to have a problem today. And then as you rejoin, make sure you're staying right to the end of the exit lane that's on your left, or exit line that's on your left. Drivers on a racing lap that reminded that you have to do the same. You stay left until the end of that line, and then you can dodge in for a bit of space to get a better angle on T1. But remember, if there's a car in the lane and they're coming out and you cause them difficulties, that could be an IR for you. And drivers that leave the lane too early, come across in front of cars or crossing the line, they're going to have a problem as well. No obligatory pit or a sprint. Just remember the speed limiter there. Golden rule, everyone's clear on that. There is no darkness. And we've talked about how to end your get off the track and get back into it if you're having problems. And as always, there's 2 races, so hang around that second race, please. Any questions? Huzzah. Okay, then I will close that up. And I know I didn't do. I'll have to do that now. Great. So we'll get on to race time. 15 minutes. Lots of time to set laps in this race.
Qualifying.
Yeah. Not race time. Qualifying time.
Qualifying time. Yes, it's qualifying time. And RF2 is just taking forever.
The line's way back here. Yeah, it is. It's not this one over here.
There we are. Okay, I'm good one, guys.
Gilles Lalonde managing traffic.
Yeah, we did.
Olivier Gervais in the number 82 Lamborghini STC.
You guys. Well, there's lots of time.
P5 Karl Struhal keeping it clean. Now on board with Daniel Kirby driving the number 201 Lamborghini STC. Let's ride with Paul Ibbotson in the number 165 Lamborghini STC. PRO cars running nose to tail. Norm Graf leads Brian. Tom Nazella has slowed dramatically in AM. Here's the replay. We're back with Tom Nazella in P4. Switching to Frank Radost is on board in the number 404 Lamborghini STC. AM driver Karl Struhal has the edge on entry to straight 1. AM driver Karl Struhal carries more speed into straight 1. Let's see it from Paul Ibbotson's perspective in the number 165 Lamborghini STC. PRO driver Daniel Kirby is quicker on the power out of turn 2. Better traction for PRO driver Daniel Kirby out of turn 2. Let's ride with Daniel Kirby in the number 201 Lamborghini STC. Strong drive out of turn 2 for PRO driver Daniel Kirby. PRO driver Daniel Kirby accelerating harder from turn 2. AM driver Carl Struhel braking deeper into straight 1. AM driver Carl Struhel has the edge on entry to straight 1. Better entry speed for AM driver Carl Struhel at straight 1. AM driver Carl Struhel carries more speed into straight 1. Watch the braking into straight 1. AM driver Carl Struhel is later there. AM driver Carl Struhel gets a better exit from straight 5. Better traction for AM driver Carl Struhel out of straight 5. Strong drive out of straight 5 for AM driver Carl Struhel. AM driver Carl Struhel is quicker on the power out of straight. Let's check on Matthew Overton, P3 and PRO. PRO driver Matthew Overton accelerating harder from straight 1. Something has gone wrong for Tom Nazella in AM. Let's take a look. Back to Matthew Overton, running on board with JT Tammy in the number 202 Lamborghini STC. P2 for Olivier Gervais in AM with a 110.170. PRO driver JT Tammy is quicker through straight 1. Strong drive out of straight 1 for PRO driver JT Tammy. Better traction for PRO driver JT Tammy out of straight 1. PRO driver JT Tammy is quicker on the power. Now on board with Frank Radosti driving the number 404 Lamborghini STC. Frank Radosti is in a real groove, metronome laps. Strong drive out of straight 1 for AM driver Olivier Gervais. AM driver Olivier Gervais gets a better exit from straight 1. Gap closing between Frank Radosti and Tom Nazella. AM driver Olivier Gervais is quicker on the power. Frank Radosti into P3 in AM, 110.202. AM driver Tom Nazella accelerating harder from straight 1. AM driver Tom Nazella gets a better exit from straight 1. AM driver Olivier Gervais is quicker on the power out of straight 1. Better traction for AM driver Olivier Gervais out of straight 1. AM driver Olivier Gervais accelerating harder from straight 1. Strong drive out straight 1 for AM driver Olivier Gervais. Better traction for AM driver Olivier Gervais out of straight 5. Here's the view from Daniel Kirby's cockpit in the number 201 Lamborghini STC. PRO driver Matthew Overton accelerating harder from straight 1. Strong drive out of straight 1 for PRO driver Matthew Overton. PRO driver Matthew Overton is quicker on the power out of straight 1. PRO driver Matthew Overton accelerating harder from straight 1. Strong drive out of straight 1 for PRO driver Matthew Overton. Better traction for PRO driver Matthew Overton out of straight 1. PRO driver Matthew Overton gets a better exit from straight 1. PRO driver Matthew Overton is quicker on the power out of straight 1. Better traction for AM driver Carl Struhel out of straight 1. AM driver Carl Struhel accelerating harder from straight 1. AM driver Carl Struhel is quicker on the power out straight 1. AM driver Olivier Gervais gets a better exit from straight 5. Strong drive out of straight 5 for AM driver Olivier Gervais. AM driver Olivier Gervais is quicker on the power out of straight 5. AM driver Olivier Gervais accelerating harder from straight 5. Strong drive out of straight 5 for AM driver Olivier Gervais. Better traction for AM driver Olivier Gervais, switching to PRO P2 JT Tammy. PRO driver Daniel Kirby gets a better exit from turn 1. PRO driver Daniel Kirby is quicker on the power out of turn 1. Pro driver Daniel Kirby accelerating harder from turn 1. Strong drive out of straight 1 for PRO driver Norm Graf. Better traction for PRO driver Norm Graf out of straight 1. Straight 1 is where PRO driver Matthew O switching to Paul Ibbetson's onboard in the number 165 Lamborghini STC. PRO driver Norm Graf consistently faster through straight 1. That's where PRO driver Norm Graf is making time through straight 1. Straight 1 is where PRO driver Matthew Overton pulls away. PRO driver Matthew Overton is quicker through straight 1. That's where PRO driver Matthew Overton is making time through straight 1. PRO driver Matthew Overton consistently faster through straight 1. PRO driver Matthew Overton has the advantage at straight 1. Straight 1 is where PRO driver Matthew Overton pulls. PRO driver Norm Graf consistently faster through straight 1. Pro driver Norm Graf has the advantage at straight 1. PRO driver Norm Graf accelerating harder from straight 1. Strong drive out of straight 1 for PRO driver Norm Graf. That's where PRO driver Norm Graf is making time through straight 1. PRO driver Norm Graf consistently faster through straight 1. PRO driver Norm Graf is quicker through straight 1. That's where PRO driver Norm Graf is making time through straight 1. PRO driver Norm Graf has the advantage at straight 1. Now on board with Olivier Gervais driving the number 82 Lamborghini STC. AM driver Karl Struhl is quicker on the power out of straight 1. AM driver Karl Struhl accelerating harder from straight 1. Strong drive out of straight 1 for AM driver Karl Struhl. Better traction for AM driver Karl Struhl. PRO driver Norm Graf consistently faster. Now with PRO P6 Brian Hall. Oh, Frank Radosti is in trouble in AM. Here's the replay. Returning to Brian Hall in peace. Let's ride with JT Tummy in the number 202 Lamborghini STC. PRO driver Norm Graf accelerating harder from turn 2. Better traction for PRO driver Norm Graf out of straight 1. PRO driver Norm Graf is quicker on the power out of straight 1. Pro driver Norm Graf gets a better exit from straight 1. Strong drive out of straight 1 for PRO driver Brian Hall. PRO driver Brian Hall accelerating harder from straight 1. Better traction for PRO driver Norm Graf out of straight 1. PRO driver Norm Graf is quicker on the power out of straight 1. On board with Norm Graf in the number 1 Lamborghini STC. Quicker laps now from Norm Graf. Tom Nazella has slowed dramatically in AM. Here's the replay. We're back with Brian Hall in P4 in PRO. PRO driver Brian Hall gets a better exit from straight 1. PRO driver Brian Hall accelerating harder from straight 1. PRO driver Brian Hall has the edge on entry. Let's see it from Frank Radosti's perspective in the number 404 Lamborghini STC. Frank Radosti's pace is fading. That's where AM driver Karl Struhl is making time through straight 1. Straight 1 is where AM driver Karl Struhl pulls away. AM driver Karl Struhl has the advantage at straight 1. AM driver Karl Struhl is quicker through straight. Let's ride with Paul Ibbetson in the number 165 Lamborghini STC. Strong drive out of straight 1 for PRO driver Paul Ibbetson. Puro driver Paul Ibbotson and PRO driver JT Tammy trading advantages. Switching to JT Tammy's onboard in the number 202 Lamborghini STC. Better traction for PRO driver JT Tammy out of straight 1. PRO driver JT Tammy gets a better exit from straight 1. PRO driver JT Tammy is quicker on the power out of straight 1. PRO driver JT Tammy accelerating harder from straight 1. PRO driver JT Tammy gets a better exit from straight 1. PRO driver JT Tammy is quicker on the power out of straight 1. Strong drive out of straight 1 for PRO driver JT Tammy. PRO driver JT Tammy gets a better exit from straight. PRO driver Paul Ibbotson is quicker on the power out of straight 1. Strong drive out of straight 1 for PRO driver Paul Ibbotson. PRO driver Paul Ibbotson accelerating harder from straight 1. PRO driver Paul Ibbotson gets a better exit from straight 1. Here's Frank Radosti in P3 in AM. Losing a bit of pace now, Frank Radosti. AM driver Olivier Gervais is quicker on the power out of straight 1. Strong drive out straight 1 for AM driver Olivier. Switching to AM P2, Olivier Gervais. Olivier Gervais is getting into a rhythm now. Olivier Gervais maintaining P8. Here's the view from Paul Ibbotson's cockpit in the number 165 Lamborghini STC. Better traction for PRO driver Paul Ibbotson out of straight 1. PRO driver Paul Ibbotson is quicker on the power out of straight 1. Strong drive out of straight 1 for PRO driver Paul Ibbotson. Better traction for PRO driver Paul Ibbotson out of onboard with Norm Graff in the number 1 Lamborghini STC. Norm Graff has found some pace in the last few laps. PRO driver Brian Hall accelerating harder from straight 1. Switching to JT Tammy's onboard in the number 202. Qualifying is over. Waiting for any flying laps to be counted before the final grid.
Okay, that's the end of it. Daniel taking the top of the standings with a low 106, and JT about a half second behind, and then Paul about a second behind that. Paul Ibbotson for the top 3 in the pros. Norman Grapp pipped Brian Hall right at the very end there. Nicely done. And then we've got Carl Struhl, top of the AMs with a strong performance, 108.5. And then Olivier Gervais picking up the second place, and Frank Radosti picking up P3 on the qualifying. So very nicely done, guys. And I see we've now rolled over to the warm-up. And unless someone complains bitterly, we'll only do 5 minutes of the warm-up, and then we'll get out to racing.
5 minutes to find that start line.
Qualifying classification confirmed. PO results. Daniel Kirby in the number 201 Lamborghini STC on pole with 16.304. JT Tammy second, Paul Ibbotson third. In AM, Carl Struhl.
Yeah, this track has nothing to actually tell you when it's time.
With 18.545. Olivier Gervais in the number 82
Sure, they all
Lamborghini
do.
STC
There's a
second
timer
with
when it starts. It says 10
19.107. Frank
minutes, and
Radosti
that's when you
in the
know it's
number
time to go.
404
You cross the
Lamborghini
line.
STC third with
Yeah, there's a little line. It's hard to
110.202.
see, but it's there.
Now with the AM leader Carl Struhol, sixth in the championship.
I think I'm coming to a stop at the starting line.
There's
Carl
there's
Struhol
cones
running
on
in
the right
P7.
that shows the line.
So where I'm stopped on the straightaway on the left is where the start line will be.
The guys stand there waving a flag like crazy, so. There's the nice black and white checker that started
Something
off.
has gone
JT,
wrong
how
for
you
Matthew
doing?
Overton in PRO. Let's take a look.
I think we've got everyone through here. No, we've got a few more if people want to see it.
There's also people ahead of me.
We did not. You didn't like my diagram? Didn't like my photo?
I didn't know the
Carl
context.
Struhol running P1 in AM.
So it's the first line after the second corner, right? Or the
JT
No.
is sitting on it. There's a flag position.
yeah,
The starter stand.
SDM. It's way down the line. Hello.
Oh yeah, it says.
If you're slowing down, do not
Chevrolet.
slow on the racing line.
Hi.
Carl. Or Tom.
Frank Radosti is in trouble in AM. Here's the replay.
So
Getting
that
good
is the
there, JT.
start-finish line, right?
Start-finish
Returning
line
to
is
Carl
the start-finish
Struhol in
line
P1.
in
Let's
the
ride with
area
Daniel
of the
Kirby
pits
in the
there
number
when you come out.
201 Lamborghini STC.
So it's the normal start-finish where the timing is stopping.
So that's the finish line.
That's the finish line.
Brian
yeah.
Hall fastest
The
in
starting
PRO,
line is on the straight where I am.
116.251. Fastest in AM, Frank
It's not the
Radosti,
timing line though. It's just the start
123.287.
line for the
That's
race.
14.74 quicker than Carl Struhol. Carl Struhol into P2 in AM, 132.346. That's
Does that make sense to everybody?
9.06 behind Frank Radosti.
Got it.
P2 for
Yeah,
Daniel
well,
Kirby in
we
PRO
do the
with
pace
a
lap comes around to that,
121.815.
and then we get going. Is that right?
Do a full lap and then a half lap to get to this line. When you
Okay.
cross this line, your race begins.
Everyone
got
got
you.
that?
Yeah.
Matthew Overton tops PRO with a
finish line will
110.78.
begin
That's
as we're going through the
5.87
race.
quicker than... Oh, Carl Struhol has slowed dramatically in AM. Here's the replay.
You can keep an eye out for the starter stand that's above me and to the left.
Okay, about a minute to go. So I'll
We're
just
back with
run
Frank
over it again
Radosti
from start
in
to finish.
P1 in
We
AM.
will line up to start at
P2
the
for Gil Lalonde in
normal grid
PRO
place. We
with a
will do a full lap
110.546.
in
That's
pairs. We'll come back to the
0.17
start
behind
finish
Matthew
line.
Overton.
We'll keep going.
Nobody quicker than Frank
We'll go
Radosti
through
in Sector
turns
2.
1 and 2 and come out on the back straight. As you go down the back
Frank
straight,
Radosti finding time in
you
Sector
will
3.
see up high the flag marshal's position, and on the ground
P3
you'll see
Frank
the black
Radosti
and white
keeping
checker
it clean.
on the ground about halfway, maybe a bit more down the back stretch. As you cross that line, that is where the race starts.
Something has gone
Just
wrong
a
for Norm
race
Graff in
from there.
You're
PRO.
only going to
Let's
see
take a
that
look.
checker line if they're in the front row.
Yeah, but
Everybody
you're
else
gonna see you'll see it as you're coming up, because it's like every other start finish line. You'll see it. It's across the track. You get a little bit of a precursor because there's a crosswalk just before it, and then you hit the black and white checker with the flag position above it.
Back to
That's where
Frank
you start
Radosti
racing.
running P.
And then the
Now on
finish
board with Olivier
is
Gervais
on
driving the number
normal
82
short
Lamborghini
straight there
STC.
After you pass
Olivier
by
Gervais
the
fastest
on
in
your right,
AM,
you do the right-hander. The start
111.223.
finish is there.
Russ,
So
let's
that's the finish
educate
line.
people on the right-hand side down the wall starts your Chevrolet banner right before the start-finish line.
Yeah, and you'll see the guy with the flag sitting there.
Olivier
Yeah,
Gervais
you'll
holding
see the
P3.
starter stand sitting above the track on the left. So even if you can't see the starting line until you're right on top of it, if you're a couple rows back, you can see the starter stand.
Yeah.
Right before
on
the
the
second
finish.
pedestrian bridge.
And we're going forward. Okay, so we're off to get ready for race, guys.
Attention grid, all non-essential personnel leave the grid now.
And so we've got for the front pair of Daniel and JT, we've got 3 minutes to do a lap and a third.
All right, see what we can do.
"30 seconds. Everyone, just take their time on the corners. We'll have plenty of time to reformat on each straight, and then obviously for the starting straight on the back there, lots of time to get into pairs. Take your time on the start.
Let's take a walk down the grid. 12 cars ready to race. Beginning with PRO. On pole position, Daniel Kirby. In P2, JT Tammy. P3, Paul Ibbotson. Norm Graf, P4. At P5, Brian Hall. P6, Matthew Overton. Gilles Lalonde, P7. Next up, AM. On pole, Carl
Just
Fluhal.
passed by the starting line as a moment ago.
In P2, Olivier Gervais. P3, Frank Radosti. At P4, James Bowders. Tom Nazella, P5.
Can't do this close.
We're racing for 30 minutes at Detroit Grand Prix. 12 cars across 2 classes.
Everybody, this is the straight. Slow down a bit, guys. Getting strung out back here. Good luck, everybody.
Gilles Lalonde maintaining P9. Brian Hall looking to get by Matthew Overton. Brian Hall holds P5 in PRO. Gilles Lalonde has problems in PR. Switching to Gilles Lalonde on board in the number 20 AM Olivier Gervais. Let's ride with Olivier Gervais. Issues for Frank Radosti in the AM class. Frank Radosti gets it done. Into P2 in AM. Oh, Gilles Lalonde's problems in PRO. Frank Radosti going for it on Gilles Lalonde. AM Olivier Gervais in trouble. Frank Radosti alongside Olivier Gervais. Gilles Lalonde making a move on Olivier Gervais. Olivier Gervais, second in the championship, drops 2 to P11 in AM. It's been a difficult day for Olivier Gervais, down from P8 to P11. Olivier Gervais pulling away from championship rival James Bowders. Great PR racing, Daniel Kirby defending P1 from JT Tammy. Daniel Kirby is pulling away, gap up by 1.0 seconds. JT Tammy showing incredible composure under pressure. JT Tammy has caught Daniel Kirby on track. Let's look back at when Olivier Gervais came to a halt on lap 1. We rejoin the PRO battle for P. Fastest in AM, Frank Radosti, 1:10.461. JT Tammy under pressure from Paul Ibbotson in the PRO fight for P2. That's Paul Ibbotson's best Sector 1 of the session. Paul Ibbotson into P2 in PRO, 18.108. P3 Paul Ibbotson keeping it clean. Paul Ibbotson in P3, a gap of 1.0 to close. While we were elsewhere, Frank Radosti stopped on track on lap 1. Returning to the battle for P2 in PRO, JT Tammy versus Paul Ibbotson. .7 seconds, the margin for Paul Ibbotson in P3. Paul Ibbotson is all over JT. P2 JT Tammy, 3.2 seconds to the car in front. JT Tammy extending the lead. JT Tammy has reeled in Daniel Kirby. Brian Hall yet to stand on the top step this season, 3 rounds in. Gilles Alonso had a significant problem on lap 1. Here's what we missed. Back to the fight for P2 and PRO. Let's see it from Karl Struhl's perspective in the number 42 Lamborghini STC. Quicker laps now from Karl Struhl. Karl Struhl out front with a comfortable gap. Karl Struhl has cut the gap by 3.0 seconds. The leader Karl Struhl has built a gap. Karl Struhl sets a personal best through sector 2. Karl Struhl is getting into a rhythm now. Karl Struhl running in P7. Tom Nazella has found some pace in the last few laps. Solid 8 laps so far from Tom Nazella. Laps now from Tom Nazella. Tom Nazella cruising in P9. Can Gilles Lalonde finally take that top step? 4 races in and still look... Oh, here's Gilles Lalonde making a move on Tom Nazella. Gilles Lalonde works through traffic. Gap now 0.7 seconds for Tom Nazella. Wheel to wheel in AM. Olivier. The times are coming down for Olivier Gervais. Oh, let's look back at when Tom Nazella came to a halt on lap 3. We rejoin the AM battle for P10, Tom Nazella and Olivier Gervais. Oh, Olivier Gervais challenging Tom Nazella for position. And Olivier Gervais completes the pass. Now P3 in AM. The gap is stretching out for Tom Nazella. We're at the halfway mark. 18 minutes left. Olivier Gervais maintaining P10. Battle for P1 in PRO. Daniel Kirby and JT Tummy. Tom Nazella is in trouble in AM. Here's the replay. Returning to Tom Nazella in P5 in AM. While we were elsewhere, Matthew Overton stopped on track on lap 5. We're back with Tom Nazella in P5 in AM. JT Tummy now 13 laps done. JT Tummy closing on Daniel Kirby. Gap down to 3.3s. Tom Nazella has slowed dramatically in AM. Here's the replay.
Car parking near the chicane.
Back to Tom Nazella running P5. Oh, Tom Nazella had a significant problem on lap 11. Here's what we missed. Returning to Tom Nazella in P5, on board with Olivier Gervais in the number 82 Lamborghini STC. Olivier Gervais tops AM with a 19.712. Trouble for Tom Nazella in AM. Now on board with Tom Nazella driving the number 28 Lamborghini STC. Gilles Lalonde trying to hold off Olivier. Gilles Lalonde has found some pace in the last few laps. "16 laps completed by Gilles Lalonde. Matthew Overton under pressure from Karl Struhel in the AM fight for P6. You could set your watch by Karl Struhel's lap times. AM driver Karl Struhel carries more speed into hairpin 1. Watch the braking into hairpin 1. AM driver Karl Struhel is later there. Better entry speed for AM driver Karl Struhel at hairpin 1. AM driver Karl Struhel carries more speed into hairpin 1. AM driver Karl Struhel braking deeper into hairpin 1. AM driver Karl Struhel has the edge on N. Oh, battle for P9 in AM. Gilles, let's see it from Olivier Gervais' perspective in the number 82 Lamborghini STC. Olivier Gervais refusing to let this one go. Gap down to 0.6 seconds for Olivier Gervais. This is turning into a real chess match. 10 minutes left in the session. Tom Nazella, 7th in the championship. Oh, something has gone wrong for Tom Nazella in AM. Let's take a look. We're back with Tom Nazella in P5.
Slow corner, be careful.
Oh, let's look back at when Tom Nazella came to a halt on lap 11. Back to Tom Nazella, running P5. Let's check on PRO leader Daniel Kirby. Daniel Kirby is struggling to maintain the pace. Frank Radosti has problems in AM. Frank Radosti's pace is fading. Battle for P5 in PRO. Brian Hall and Matthew Overton. Meanwhile, Tom Nazella pitting from P12. The gap is coming down from Matthew Overton. Brian Hall running in P5. While we were elsewhere, Frank Radosti stopped on track on lap 19. Returning to the battle for P5 in PRO, Brian Hall versus Matthew Overton. And Tom Nazella in trouble. The lap times are starting to drop off for Tom Nazella. Here's the PRO leader, Daniel Kirby. Tom Nazella had a significant problem on lap 13. Here's what we missed.
Driver's left, second to last corner.
Returning to Daniel Kirby in P1 in PRO. Tom Nazella, 7th in the championship, pitting from P12. 5 minutes to go. P1 Daniel Kirby, keeping it clean. Matthew Overton is all over Brian Hall for P5 in PRO. Watch Matthew Overton behind Brian Hall closing fast. Olivier Gervais still searching for that first win of the season after 4 starts. While the action has quieted down, let's revisit an earlier moment. We're back with Matthew Overton in issues for Olivier Gervais. Losing a bit of pace now, Olivier Gervais. Now with the PRO leader Daniel Kirby, 6th in the championship. Quicker laps now from Daniel Kirby. Daniel Kirby with a 6.7 second advantage at the front. Let's look back at when Karl Struhal came to a halt on lap 2 minutes remaining. Back to Daniel Kirby, running P1 in PRO. Daniel Kirby has completed 26 laps now. Daniel Kirby is getting into a rhythm now. One minute left in the session. Daniel Kirby cruising in P1. Now with PRO P2, JT Tami. While we were elsewhere, Brian Hall stopped on track on lap 24. Returning to JT Tami in P2 in PRO. JT Tami in P2, a gap of 6.7 to close. And Daniel Kirby wins the PRO class. Daniel Kirby, 6th in the championship, wins the PRO. Paul Ibbotson currently P3 in PRO. Here's the view from Frank Radosti's cockpit in the number 404 Lamborghini STC. Let's ride with Olivier Gervais in the number 82 Lamborghini STC. Now on board with Karl Struhal, driving the number 42 Lamborghini STC. James Bowders takes the flag in P4. Meanwhile, Norm Graf crosses the line in P4. Matthew Overton finishes in P5 as we watch this battle unfold. A first win of the season for Carl. Olivier Gervais had a significant problem on lap 23. Here's what we missed. JT Tummy finishes P2 in PRO, second in the championship. Frank Radosti finishes P2 in AM, 8th in the championship. Paul Ibbotson completes the PRO podium. We're back with Frank Radosti in P2 in AM. Olivier Gervais completes the... Let's check on Olivier Gervais, P3 in AM.
Okay, that's it. So, Daniel, congratulations, fast lap, and pole to pole, take the top position, and then JT and Paul following along behind, trying to keep you in sight. Then Carl completes the podium honors for both the pole and the race win, and then Frank and Olivier second and third. Okay, I'll let the server do his thing. Heard remarkably few things going on during the race. I saw one and heard of a couple others, but it seemed like a pretty good race all around. I think people have started getting the measure of this track.
Well, James did the cue ball.
I need the whole 10 minutes if I can.
Yes, I did, and I do apologize for that. It totally caught me off guard.
Would you say that driving backwards is obstructing the track?
I saw Tom going backwards.
I can't believe I ain't heard nothing out of Brian. He just, I mean,
ain't nothing to say. It spoke for itself. I was trying to get
sorry, would have been.
I was trying to get to the inside wall so you could have the outside to go around, and I think we went for the same spot.
Yeah, except you were going the opposite direction the track goes.
Well, I wasn't at the first, but I kind of got put around there, and then so I was trying to clear the track on the outside by getting to the inside of that wall and then spinning around, because after you was a big gap. So I was waiting for you to go by, but it didn't work.
Sorry, Jill, for that tap at the airpin at the end there. I misjudged your braking a little bit.
I braked at the same place I always brake.
Okay, yeah, I'd probably brake a bit harder than you then.
So that could be the misjudgment.
And I'll let you know how things go, Ace.
Well, you'll get to start on pole, Brian.
God help you. God help the rest of you.
Let's see, my money is Tom on pole.
Go ahead.
I just cannot see to the left well enough to be really good here.
Move your seat forward.
Oh, I can see forward. I just can't see to the left. All these left-hand turns.
Yeah, move your seat forward in the screen.
Practice is underway. 2 hours 45 minutes on the clock.
That doesn't make the
On board with Paul
apex magically
Ibbotson
appear.
in the number 165 Lamborghini STC.
No, it does not.
You would have to change field of view.
I think VR works quite nice here.
Yeah, the damn A-pillar gets in the way.
Yeah, I can look around it.
Shut up, VR.
Paul Ibbotson holding P5. Frank Radosti running in P7.
Oh yeah, JT, that was a pretty ambitious overtake. Once I saw you go for it, I did back out to give you room.
See, it was I couldn't tell if you were gonna back out or not. So I had to go
once I saw you commit for the move, I tried to give you extra room, and I'm sorry you went long there. It was that was a very good move. Unfortunately, it just didn't stick.
Yeah, no, I went in too much.
Sorry about that, guys. I should have warned you I was going to the next one. And we'll go to the next session.
Is Tom still in the chat?
I think he left for the evening.
Okay, so I'll give everybody the full 10 minutes, and we'll go to race at the end of the warm up.
Thank you.
Frank Radosti cruising in P7. Brian Hall currently P6 in PRO. Now with PRO P5, Daniel Kirby. Daniel Kirby holding P9. Here's the view from Norm Graf's cockpit in the #1 Lamborghini STC. Norm Graf is in trouble in PRO. Here's the replay. We're back with Norm Graf in P2 in PRO. Norm Graf running in P4.
Man, it's gonna be weird to drive with a straight steering wheel again.
I saw you had some damage. I don't think Daniel even got a bug on the windscreen.
I was wondering why you weren't gonna, or you didn't catch me, because usually you catch me in the last half.
I was taking care of the tires and everything. But then I went dumb.
By the way, whose phone was that during the race?
I didn't hear a phone.
I'm gonna say yours. I didn't hear anything.
Me neither.
No, wasn't my phone.
We didn't hear a phone, Matt.
Didn't hear a phone, eh?
No.
Okay, I gotta go check my phone.
Daniel Kirby cruising in P10. Let's ride with Brian Hall in the number 204 Lamborghini STC.
Well, that was an interesting ring. Never run like that before.
Sri Lanka telling you 1 to million.
Fortunately, no. Okay, that's now fixed.
Gilles Lalonde leads the championship starting from P7 today. Daniel Kirby into P2 in PRO, 111.035. That's 1.80 behind Brian Hall. Brian Hall maintaining P1. JT Tammy goes purple in Sector 1.
Next week, we're back at Long Beach with the slightly changed cars, and I will be doing the 2x2 starting process so we don't get jammed up again. Obviously, that hairpin was a bit too much. So we'll do 2x2.
JT Tammy running in P1. Daniel Kirby fastest in PRO, 17.621. That's 1.15 quicker than JT Tammy. Let's see it from Daniel Kirby's perspective in the number 201 Lamborghini STC. Norm Graf has slowed dramatically in PRO. Here's the replay.
So, Gio and James, any questions about the start process?
No, just guarantee Gilles not to hit him going into the hairpin.
Back to Daniel Kirby, running P1.
That would always
Olivier
be
Gervais
the
is on
desirable,
board
yes.
in the number 82 Lamborghini STC. Olivier Gervais tops AM with a 126.604. Olivier Gervais holding P5. P3 for Paul Ibbotson in PRO with a 19.099. On board with Daniel Kirby in the number 201 Lamborghini STC. Fastest in AM Karl Struhel, 110.655. Fastest Sector 1 of the session, Daniel Kirby. Paul Ibbotson maintaining P3. Let's see it from Brian Hall's perspective in the number 204 Lamborghini STC. You could set your watch by Brian Hall's lap times. Remarkably consistent from Gilles Lalonde. Paul Ibbotson yet to stand on the top step this season, 3 rounds in.
Time to be making sure you've got your setup ready to go and everything's tied on tight for the second race. You've thanked your pit crew for everything they did to the car to get it back into good ready racing order.
Warm-up is over. The teams will now make their final preparations.
So much duct tape. Is that why you use mostly a green livery?
Yeah, it's purple duct tape underneath.
Well, you can get some pretty cool colors these days.
Attention grid, will all non-essential personnel leave the grid now?
Seconds. And 15 seconds.
Yeah,
and here we have the grid for today's race. 11 cars across 2 classes. First up, PRO.
Right as Matt's trying to tell everybody, just remember to roll off nice and easy.
Brian Hall,
wait for the zero.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I got a penalty. I'm going to do a drive-through. I'm going to do a drive-through on
in P4, Norm Graf.
He said challenge accepted.
At P5, Paul Ibbotson.
We got to get you back up on the front row more often.
I watched the timer at the bottom. Didn't know there were fucking
P7,
lights.
Daniel Kirby. Now 8M, James Boders, pole position.
There's always lights.
At P2, Frank Radosti. P3, Olivier Gervais.
So the race has started, right?
Carl Strohal, P4.
It has. Well, no, not according to the race. For RF2, yes, but you have to get by the start-finish before you can do it, so you can do it after you start on the second lap. We've got about a third of this lap to go through before we hit the start-finish line or the start line.
11 cars now racing.
Just
30 minutes at Detroit Grand Prix. AM PRO.
Not too quick there, Neil. Remember, 2 by 2, everybody.
We're a minute and a half into this fight and still no resolution. Here's Carl Struhl making a move on Olivier Gervais. Not this time. Olivier Gervais stays P5 in AM. Carl Struhl loses ground in AM down. Oh, trouble for Paul Ibbotson in PRO. Switching to Paul Ibbetson's onboard in the number 165 Lamborghini STC. Here comes Daniel Kirby on Paul Ibbotson. Norm Graf going for it on Paul Ibbotson. Watch Paul Ibbotson behind JT Tammy closing fast. Don't overlook Paul Ibbotson climbing 3 spots to P11. Big moment, Gilles Lalonde pits from the lead. Something has gone wrong for Paul Ibbotson in PRO. Let's take a look.
Out.
Returning to Paul Ibbotson in P7. Oh, let's look back at when Frank Radosti came to a halt on lap 1. We're back with Paul Ibbotson in P7. Daniel Kirby with the fastest Sector 1 so far. Daniel Kirby finding time in Sector 2. Olivier Gervais' advantage is shrinking. Daniel Kirby has closed by 0.9 seconds. P4 Daniel Kirby keeping it clean. Daniel Kirby challenging Olivier Gervais for position. Traffic cleared for Daniel Kirby. The leader Gilles Lalonde has pitted. James Bowder's under pressure from Daniel Kirby in the AM fight for P2. Olivier Gervais is losing touch with Daniel Kirby. Meanwhile, Paul Ibbotson pitting from P11. Daniel Kirby has cut the gap by 0.6 seconds. Daniel Kirby goes purple in Sector 2. Let's see Norm Graffs move on JT Tummy in PRO. We rejoin the PRO battle for P3. Oh, Daniel Kirby challenging Daniel Kirby gets by James Bowders. Daniel Kirby has reeled in Brian Hall. Trio Norm Graff in. Oh, while we were elsewhere, Norm Graff stopped on track on lap 1. Back to Norm Graff, running P6 in PRO. Action in AM. James Bowders versus Olivier Gervais for P3. Quicker laps now from James Bowders. Norm Graff second in the championship, pitting from P110. Paul Ibbotson heading into pit lane. Battle for P8 in AM. Frank Radosti and Carl Struhal. The times are coming down for Frank Radosti. Look at this PRO battle. Ryan Hall versus Daniel Kirby for P1. Ryan Hall has found some pace in the last few laps. Here's JT Tammy's pass on Gilles Lalonde in PRO. Returning to the battle for P1 in PRO, Brian Hall versus Daniel Kirby. Daniel Kirby is reeling in Brian Hall. Can Paul Ibbotson finally take that top step? 3 races in and still looking for a win. Norm Graff, second in the championship, pitting from on board with Frank Radosti in the number 404 Lamborghini STC. Quicker laps now from Frank Radosti. JT Tummy had a significant problem on lap 1. Here's what we missed. Back to the fight for P8 in AM between Frank Radosti and Carl. Oh, let's watch JT Tummy going for. JT Tummy takes P3 in PRO. JT Tummy extending the lead. Just 1.2 seconds separating these two. Oh, Daniel Kirby's all over Brian. The times are coming down for Brian Hall. Daniel Kirby making a move on Brian Hall. Another look at Daniel Kirby overtaking Brian Hall in PRO. We rejoin the PRO battle for P1. Oh, wheel to wheel in AM. Karl Struhol challenging Frank Radosti for P8. Karl Struhol going for it on Frank Radosti. Karl Struhol gets it done into P3 in AM. Karl Struhol's getting into a rhythm now. Gap now 1.4 seconds for Frank Radosti. Lap 9 for Karl Struhol, settling into the rhythm. Karl Struhol holding P8. Here's Olivier Gervais making a move on James Bowders. Returning to the battle for P5 in AM, Olivier Gervais versus Matthew Overton. Olivier Gervais with 0.7 seconds of clear ahead. James Bowders trying to hold off Olivier. Quicker laps now from James Bowders. Matthew Overton getting around. Now on board with Matthew Overton, driving the number 174 Lamborghini STC. Matthew Overton has found some pace in the last few laps. Halfway point, 18 minutes remaining. Battle for P7 in PRO, Gilles Lalonde and Karl Struhol. Gap down to 0.6 seconds for Karl Struhol. Olivier Gervais navigating a... Matthew Overton going for it on Olivier Gervais. Olivier Gervais alongside Matthew Overton. The gap is stretching out for Olivier Gervais. Matthew Overton's pace is fading. Brian Hall under pressure from JT Tummy in the PRO fight for P2. An absorbing battle between these two. The gap is coming down for JT Tummy. Carl Struhl looking to get by Gilland. Carl Struhl works through traffic. Here comes Gil Lalonde on Carl Struhl. Oh, let's see Frank Radosti's move on Carl Struhl in AM. Back to the fight for P7 in PRO between Gilles Lalonde and Carl Struhl.
I've got too much damage. Go for it. Go.
Gilles Lalonde challenging Carl Struhl for position. Traffic cleared for Gilles Lalonde. Here's something interesting we missed. Returning to Gilles Lalonde in P5 in PRO. Oh, action in PRO. Brian Hall versus JT Tummy for P2. JT Tummy is getting into a rhythm now. Norm Graf still searching for that first win of the season after 4 starts. Frank Radosti lost the rear in AM. Here's the replay. We rejoin the AM battle for P7, Gilles Lalonde and Frank Radosti. Gilles Lalonde going for it on Frank Radosti. Matthew Overton trying to hold off James Bowders for P4 and AM. Matthew Overton has been quicker, pulling away. Carl Struhl has ducked into the pits from P9. Let's look back at when Norm Graf came to a halt on lap 6.
Straight.
We're back with James Bowders in P1 in AM. Olivier Gervais has problems. Here's the view from Olivier Gervais' cockpit in the number 82 Lamborghini STC. P6 for Olivier Gervais, a quiet run so far. Oh, while we were elsewhere, Gilles Lalonde stopped on track on lap 13. Back to Gilles Lalonde running P5 in PRO. "17 laps completed by Gilles Lalonde. "10 minutes left in the session. JT Tummy maintaining P2. Karl Struhlhoff had a significant problem on lap 13. Here's what we missed. Returning to JT Tummy in P2 and PRO. A three-car battle. Daniel Kirby, Frank Radosti and Olivier Gervais fighting for position. Pit stop for Olivier Gervais, currently P8. Gilles Lalonde to stand on the top step this season 4 rounds in. Impressive consistency from Daniel Kirby. Daniel Kirby maintaining the lead. Let's look back at when Frank Radosti came to a halt on lap 15. We're back with Daniel Kirby in P1 and PRO. Daniel Kirby now 20 laps done. Switching to PRO P2, JT Tummy. The times are coming down for JT Tummy. Gilles Lalonde making a move alongside. Let's ride with Daniel Kirby in the number 201. Oh, while we were elsewhere, Gilles Lalonde stopped on track on lap 15. Back to Daniel Kirby running P1 in PRO. Daniel Kirby holding P1. Pack Racing, JT Tammy. JT Tammy running in P2. Spin for Frank Radosti in AM. Let's take another look. Five minutes remaining. Returning to JT Tammy in P2 Oh, Frank Radosti had a significant problem on lap 15. Here's what we missed. We're back with JT Tammy in P2 in PRO. Lap 23 for JT Tammy, settling into the rhythm. Tight racing here. Brian Hall, Frank Radosti and Carl Struho battling it out. Brian Hall is in a real groove metronome laps. Can James Bowders finally take that top step? 4 races in and still looking for a win. Let's check on Frank Radosti P2 in AM. Let's look back at when Olivier Gervais came to a halt on lap 16. Back to Frank Radosti running P2 in AM. Frank Radosti has completed 23 laps now. Quicker laps now from Frank Radosti. Switching to Daniel Kirby's onboard in the number 201 Lamborghini STC. Daniel Kirby out front with a comfortable gap. 2 minutes to go. Let's look back at something we missed earlier. Returning to Daniel Kirby in P1. Oh, 3 cars going at. Brian Hall maintaining P3. One minute left in the session. Solid 26 laps so far from Brian Hall. While we were elsewhere, Olivier Gervais stopped on track on lap 18. We're back with Brian Hall in P3 and PRO. Let's check on PRO leader Daniel Kirby. On board with JT Tammy in the number. Daniel Kirby takes PRO win number 2 this season. P5 for Gilles Lalonde at the checkered flag. Here's the view from Brian Hall's cockpit in the number 204 Lamborghini STC. Now on board with Frank Radosti driving the number 404 Lamborghini STC. Switching to James Bowders on board in the number 92 Lamborghini STC. Meanwhile, Matthew Overton crosses the line in P4. James Bowders, third in the championship. JT Tammy finishes P2 in PRO, second in the championship. Frank Radosti finishes P2 in AM,
right.
8th
well,
in the championship.
I think Dan, you ended up on the lead after the debacle at turn 3. JT and Brian picking up second and third pro, and then James Bowder taking the win for the AM, followed by Frank and Olivier. Paul, I'm sorry.
Was that you? I thought it was me.
That sort of got nosed under you and left you standing on your passenger door. Yeah, that was me.
Yeah, so weird.
Pushed from behind.
So, yeah, I'm stuck on the side. So I'm trying all the different gears, forwards and backwards, trying to rock it, but I can't get it off its side. But obviously the engine's running for me to do that. I'm spinning forwards and backwards. Then I exit RF2, come back to the pits, and my engine's dead.
Your engine's dead?
Yeah.
So how did you fix that? Or did you?
You can't.
No, you didn't. No, you didn't. I see that down there. Oh, man.
Sorry, Cal.
DNF stands for did not fix.
Yeah, did not fix. Do not fix. So I guess I've got signed to watch for the IRs then.
Did not flip.
Olivier, some nice racing there, especially going into, what was it, turn 4?
Yeah, side by side in that turn. Second time you got me.
Yeah, that was very nice. You handled that really, really well, and nicely done.
Yeah, well, the second time I said no redo. I'll let you go a little bit.
Well, I think I also got a bit of a jump on you that time. Managed to get
it
around, and so I was fully on. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. Thank you.
Yeah, we did bounce a little bit there in the first time.
Yeah.
When I saw that, I didn't accelerate through.
Well, there was nowhere for you to go through anyway.
No, a little later, I punched Carl.
Oh.
He was there was a train, and it was slower than I thought.
Yeah, I was trying to catch James there for a moment until I actually messed up bad and got a crooked steering.
Ah. Yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah, I could manage 6 because of all of that.
Hey, was it me or did everybody notice that second race was a little more slippery?
A little more
slippery.
Yeah, it will be because even though there's a very well rubbered track file I use, it's just going to be a bit behind the warm up one.
Well, that was some nice race tonight. Next week will be interesting with multi-class.
Yes, 2 weeks from now. 2 weeks from now, because next week is Long Beach, the restart race.
Suicide.
Right, still gotta go practice again, Long Beach.
Yep.
Well, food. Thank you, Mr. Matthew, and have a
guys
nice
for coming out.
evening.
Yeah, thanks everyone. Good racing. It was fun.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, again, I apologize for being the cue ball there in race 1. I'm just glad I didn't take anybody out. That was really sorry.
Well, I didn't
One
have
games,
nothing
James.
to do this. I didn't have nothing to do the second race, but harass James.
All right, later, guys.
Laters.
Take care.
I got wrecked into turn 4. Had 104 seconds of repair.
Eek.
Yeah, 102.
All right.
And I see the wrecker. I done split the scene before I could say anything.